Welcome to the Podcasting Mentor Podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are ready to stop hiding and start showing up on the right stages without the burnout. I'm Candace Dudley, podcast guesting strategist, and your go-to for turning interviews into your favorite marketing and networking tool. And guess what? My podcast guesting accelerator is now enrolling for summer. Yep, this is your sign to finally get off the sidelines and into the spotlight. Like my client, Kelly, who landed 8 guest spots in a single week after we worked together. She called it a no-brainer and said she'd 1000% do it again. That's the power of intentional guesting, and that's exactly what I'll help you do. Let's get brave, let's get strategic, and let's get you heard. Head to the show notes for more details on my podcast guesting accelerator. I'm back with a special guest, Emilee from Emailing with Emilee. She is a mom of 3 like me. She found her calling as an email tech and automation specialist. She helps cozy coaches, service providers, create email funnels and automations that help their businesses make sales while they're binging the latest drama-filled episode of their show. I love it. I'm so glad you're here. I love the cozy vibe as well. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and who you help.
Thank you. Yeah, just like you said, my name is Emilee. I own Emailing with Emilee. I work with, as you said, Comfy, a service provider. Those are the ones who are usually running their business from the couch or the bed, just wherever they can. Not really the ones who like to be in the office. I know sometimes we get stuck there, but I help them get their email system set up in a way that feels good and works behind the scenes. That way they can be out there with their kids or really doing whatever makes them feel good. I'm all about keeping things simple and strategic. I use my cozy method, which focuses on connection, organizations, and unifying your email, whether it's setting up tech or making sure your offers are mapped out. That's kind of what I'm here for, just to kind of make it a whole lot less overwhelming and more doable in your life.
I agree. When we have kids, especially, time can be scarce and we need to, do things efficiently. So I love this.
We're fitting this into nap time right now, so time is always scarce around here.
Yes, as we could see your baby in the picture making this happen. Were you always in entrepreneurship, or what was that leap into it like for you?
So I decided to hop into entrepreneurship in 2020, kind of similar to everyone, but my reason was I had my baby in 2020, and when I looked at him, I could not imagine not being there to watch all of his firsts. That broke my heart. So I did have an overnight job for the first 8 months of his life, which, let me tell you, having an overnight job and raising a kid during the day, not for the week, and trying to start a business, it was rough. But we made it through. We actually ended up selling our house, and we blind moved across the country to use the profit from our house to be able to help me get a coach and really start my business. I started as a VA, and I, through working with one of my clients, found that I absolutely loved the data and the tech that came with email tech. And so I started diving into that a lot, and I just found that I love it because I love watching how things work and how changing one little thing can completely change the outcome of the amount of money that you can make from email.
That's awesome. I feel like that is what's different about you. I work with a lot of people and I help them prep and prepare what they're going to speak about and really figure out on a podcast as a guest. And that would definitely set you apart, that one, you like those numbers and that data, which so many people don't like.
I have always told people that if I could live in a spreadsheet, I would. I love spreadsheets.
It's so great to take what you love and make it into a business because it really can keep you in alignment and working in a great place. A lot of people have heard of newsletters. I think that's something really common, that you start a business and you think, I need to start an email list and I need a newsletter. And I have my own take on it. I really lean towards the advice of your emails list and your email being more like how you talk to your friend and feeling more personal. And so I lean that way instead of having a big layout. But tell me your expertise, your side of it. Why can't a business just rely on this weekly newsletter to try to make sales?
So just having a weekly newsletter is great, and it's a good way to build connection. But when somebody joins your list, having a way for them to be welcomed into your world and then also nurturing them as time goes on, it keeps you in the forefront of their mind, and it really allows you to build a more personal connection with them. Even though it is automated, you are creating that personal connection with them because they come into your space. You have a welcome sequence that really lets them know about you, your business, what you stand for. That way they can decide if yes, they truly want to be here or no, they do not. Like, it really builds that connection. And then you move into, okay, yeah, you have the weekly newsletters, but is that enough to really like change their mind because you're only coming at them once a week? So then on top of it, I always encourage people to have what I call a nurture and a sales sequence, which some other people call it that way too. But the nurture sequence, I like to send it out every couple of months, and it's a burst of some emails in a row where you're not trying to sell to them. That way, once again, you're really building that bond, and it's all kind of about bonding with your subscribers, because if you're constantly just pushing sales at people or pushing to work with you, they're going to be like, most of them get pretty annoyed with that, and that's what leads to the unsubscribing. So the way that I focus my email tech for people is creating that bond that encourages people to buy from you off of social media.
Yeah, it sounds like just being a genuine human and treating people how you would want to be treated. We all hate when we get 50 emails after you sign up for like one free resource, and it's like, bing, 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 buy this course. And
yeah,
that never feels good.
To kind of like wrap it up on the whole, like, why can't you build that connection in one weekly newsletter? Well, you can't really build that connection when people are expecting it. If you're sending it at the same time, on the same day every week, it kind of just becomes something in the background. People see your name pop up and they're like, oh yeah, that newsletter, skim, exit, done. When you have those extra nurture and sales sequences that come in, they're like, oh, I wasn't expecting to hear from her today. What is she trying to tell me? And that's when they open it up and really read it, because they're like, oh, this was unexpected. Like, what's going on with her? That's where that extra one comes in.
Interesting. And since we just brought up newsletter, tell me what a weekly newsletter looks like to you. What's your advice on that? I know I shared a little bit, like, I don't love getting the ones that are pages and pages long that you have to scroll and it looks very manicured and there's
the
graphics.
Short newsletters are in right now. People really want short, concise, give me the information now and I want to be gone, because they really don't want to sit there and read it, which is how kind of social media has also delved into recently. They want information fast and right off the bat. I always like to structure the newsletters that I create for everybody in a little bit of storytelling right off the bat. I typically no longer really say like, hi friend, or hey so-and-so. I just jump right into it. Like, I get started with like,
I do too.
Maybe like one or two lines about like a quick story, like hook grab, and then go into what you're really wanting to talk about. Always make sure there's a button at the top and the bottom, not just the bottom, because most of them aren't probably going to make it to the bottom of your email. You want some type of button or something to click towards the top. That way they can be like, oh yeah, like, let me just click on that and like read more about it here instead of like reading the rest of the email. Some of them will finish off the email, like get into like the nitty gritty of what you're actually trying to talk to them about and sell them on, and then like get to that button at the bottom. But I typically do straight into that hook storytelling, a button, a little bit more story and your offer or your product, whatever it is you're pushing in this email, and then your button at the bottom.
Okay.
PSs have also been helping a lot recently, because some people will just skim and they get to the bottom and they see that PS and they're like, oh, PS, and it kind of relates to what was above, and then they're like, wait, I want to go back and actually read that. So PSs are big right now too.
I have heard that is one of the most read lines in emails right now.
Yes, PS.
Yes, so definitely don't sleep on that. Talk about sequences. You said a nurture sequence, and that's like when you first get the person into your email list, into your community. What does that look like? I know that people are so big on like tangible, like how many should I have? Give me the number. And I know that it's different for everybody, but give a little bit of what do you recommend that it's, this, and this is what goes in it, if you don't mind.
So the welcome sequence, which is the first sequence that people get when they come onto your email list, I would say is about 4 to 6 emails. Your first email should be like, hey, thank you for joining. This is who I am. This is my business. Just kind of like small little quick kind of surface level. Who am I? What is my business? And then your second email should be diving into a little bit more about what you offer. Then that second email kind of goes into introducing like your offers and any like helpful starting points on where they should like start when wanting to get to know you and what you offer. Your third email, I like to make that like a midpoint where you encourage, reflect, give them like a sense of purpose. I call this the non-sales email. This is just really where you're building like connection and rapport. Your fourth email is kind of where you're going to deepen their trust by like giving them something. This is where you can put in a freebie or a low ticket offer. And then the fifth and sixth emails are kind of going to be your call to action and invites where you like redirect them onto like the next step of working with you or staying connected with you.
Okay. And then what's your advice with sending those out? Is it a daily thing, that first welcome sequence, or is it spread out a little more?
2 days, like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, that feels better to me too.
I do recommend the 6-hour email is what it's called. When someone gets your freebie or joins your list, they get that initial, like, thank you for subscribing opt-in email. 6 hours after that email is when your first email should go out. And then after that, it's every 2 to 3 days.
Okay, cool. You have other sequences that you recommend. Tell me about those.
The nurture sequence is just going to be like 2 to 3 emails. It's a super short sequence. All of them should be non-sales emails. They should be connection building, free offers, just not many things for them to click is essentially what the nurture emails should be. Those also, I suggest like every 1 to 3 days. 2 is like a good middle point, but these emails should be like, oh, this is what's happening in my life, or like, let me tell you a story, or how I got into doing what I'm doing. Just kind of seemingly random things that build rapport is what the nurture sequence should really be. This sequence is, like I said, just all about building rapport and how you can strengthen that bond between you. Oh, these are the pain points you're feeling. Here's how I fixed it. Here are some tips that I've learned recently. Just all of those kind of seemingly like random things that wouldn't ideally fit in a weekly newsletter.
Sure, that makes sense. And are there any other sequences? I know you have something you call extra sequences.
So I do sales sequences as well. This is when you're doing like a big push for something, like you have a new offer coming out, you have a new product coming out. This is going to be 4-ish email sequence where it ideally goes like right after your nurture sequence. You then move into, this is what I've been working on. Let me hype you up a little bit about it in the second email. The third email is like, okay, this is what it's going to cost. This is what you're going to get out of it. Are you excited? And then your final email is going to be that it's live, it's here, like, let's get it. And then sometimes I do encourage adding a 5th email that's like, did you miss it? Like, have you gotten it yet? Let me tell you some testimonials about it. Kind of like the welcome, nurture, and sales sequence are kind of like the base sequences. We can get into more like there's like re-engagement sequences where your subscribers get cold and you're trying to warm them back up.
Tell me about that, because I think it's super common where people had an email list and then maybe they felt overwhelmed writing emails or things like that.
And they go to their list for a while.
And they ghosted them. What do you recommend? How do they handle that?
There are 2 different ways. If it's you ghosted, you want to open up with your first email being like, okay, this is what happened. This is where I've been. I definitely missed having you around. You want to empathize with them. Be like, I totally get if this isn't for you anymore. The unsubscribe button's right there. You do like, unfortunately, yes, you want to keep as many people around on your list as possible. But encouraging people who don't want to be there to unsubscribe versus marking you as spam is going to be a little bit more ideal. So
yes, for
being
sure.
like, I missed you. All these things have been going on. If this isn't for you anymore, like unsubscribe's right there. But otherwise, I'm glad to see you guys still here. If you go the other route where they became cold on your list by they're not opening your emails or engaging with your emails, it's kind of a, are you still here email where you are like, are you still there? Are you still wanting to receive my emails? If so, like click yes. If not, you'll get unsubscribed. And then after that, the sequence can remain the same, whichever way it is. The last 4 emails are just as a reminder, this is who I am, this is what I do. And then your next email is like, fair warning, I still haven't heard from you. If I still don't hear from you in X amount of days, however long you're making this sequence, I'm going to unsubscribe you. Your second to last email is, here's a freebie, or here's like a low ticket offer, to try to get them to be like, oh yeah, like I do like need some of this stuff. So like they'll be like, I want this freebie, so I'm going to stay engaged engaged. And then the final email is, I still haven't heard from you, so I'm unsubscribing you now. Feel free to resubscribe if you want emails in the future. You can find that unsubscribe page on my socials and like leave your socials and other ways to connect with you. And then after that, the important part, delete the cold subscribers.
Okay.
Because your open rates will go up, which will then show that you are a reliable source to like Google and Yahoo, and it'll make your subscriber score go up, make you a more trusted emailer, and you'll be less likely to end up in the spam boxes. If you have low open rates, you're more likely to end up in like spam or not being like opened and stuff, and so you'll just get flagged. And so if you delete your cold subscribers, which yes, your list size will go down, everyone's like worried about that, but having a higher open rate with a smaller list is way better than a bigger list with a low open rate, because you'll be a more trusted source to Google and Yahoo, which means your emails will get better pushed out to your people.
Yes. Okay. That is great to know. Tell me, I should have probably led with this. If someone is hesitant on starting an email list and they're not doing one, what is your advice about that?
My advice is, what could it hurt? Mm-hmm. Especially if you have like the welcome, the nurture, the sales sequences going. You can sit down for 2 hours, 1 day a month, and write out all your newsletters for the month. Really, after it's set up, you're taking 2 hours out of your month to use this. What's it going to harm is essentially what I tell people, because also, and I actually just posted about this on Threads today, if social media were to ever disappear, would your community still be there? There have been times where there have been Instagram blackout and everyone wasn't able to use Instagram for the day and everyone panicked. What happens if that actually is permanently happening? If Instagram has a blackout and you want to still have your community there and not build from nothing, you need an email list, because your community will still be there, because you'll still be able to send emails to people in your community without having to start from nothing all over again.
Exactly.
So that is the reason why everybody should have an email list, because you still at least have some people that you can sell to and be connected to while you rebuild.
Exactly. And what are some of your favorite programs for hosting an email list on?
I love Kit. I'm a Kit user through and through.
Okay.
Mostly because Kit really helps with the data. They're super good at being able to segment and organize all your people, everything. If you're type A, Kit is going to be for you, because everything is nicely laid out. It's all systems and organization. I just love it. And it also is kind of low priced, in my opinion. The second one is Flowdesk.
That's what I use.
Most service providers use Flowdesk. It's very, very pretty. I just like how much more I can do on Kit, but Flowdesk, I wish I could do the pretty emails on Kit that I want on Flowdesk. If I could merge those two, I'd be in heaven.
Yes.
And then if you do e-commerce, I'm just going to slip this one in. If you do e-commerce, Klaviyo. Not many people know about it, but Klaviyo is wonderful for e-commerce brands.
Okay, yeah, I have not heard of that one. I used Squarespace when I was doing some e-commerce things, but I've since shifted away with it. That's good. Okay. And I feel like we're to the point where we've got a lot and it might be overwhelming for someone listening, even though I could keep going and keep picking your brain. Yes, no, this is great. So I hope that people can just take one thing and start implementing or start adjusting. But I want to ask you, because I'm pretty sure that this is your first podcast guesting spot. Is it right? Yes. So tell me, because that's what I have been helping people with and helping them strategize. Are you planning to utilize this more in your business?
I would love to podcast more. I tell my coach all the time that I just want to do podcasts and summits because I feel like they're the best way to get visible.
Yes.
Because I know I'm good and the people in my circle know I'm good, but trying to convince other people that I'm good has been like the hardest thing. And at least in my head, how I think it works. This probably isn't how it works. But I feel like if people start seeing me on podcasts and seeing me in summits, they're going to be like, oh, this chick might be good. Like, a lot of people know her. Mm-hmm. She keeps showing up everywhere. And then I'll, like, get more people in my circle. So
absolutely.
I half started my own podcast. That was messy action. That was a bad idea. It wasn't a bad idea. But I kind of started my own little podcast. It's since been abandoned, but we're going to start it back up again. And I'm hoping to like podcast on more people's in the future for sure.
Definitely. I listened to some of your episodes. They were good, super actionable, tangible. So I don't think you can't call it a little podcast, as I did that too in the beginning 4 years ago when I first started mine. You can do it. I hope you resurrect it because
Thank
it
you.
does.
I
It
will.
was good.
I will.
Yes. Yes.
I just did a whole rebranding, and so now that everything's rebranded, my services are like on point, and I have people coming in. I'm like, okay, now I can focus on going back to all the little messy things that I started and making them better.
Yes, I love some good inspired messy action. Tell me what it looks like for us if we go get your free resource that you have for us.
If you go and get it, I have a couple. I have my Cozy Method, which is my email marketing framework. That one, if you go and get that one, you will know how I structure people's platforms, how I structure all of their email sequences. That's kind of what you'll get out of that. And then you can learn more from me on how to really put that tech into action. And then my other one is essentially, it's got a really long name that I'm not going to have to say on here. Essentially, what it does is it helps you decide what platform to use. If you're unsure of what email marketing platform to use, if you're new to it, you can go to the link in my bio. It's in there. You go through all the little steps that it has, and essentially, I should really just make this a quiz instead of a freebie, honestly. You go through all the steps, and it kind of spits out the perfect platform for you, whether you want free or paid, or how many subscribers you have, what's your end goal, and both of those will end you up on my email list, where you just get to learn even more.
I love it. And where can people find you? Where can we go connect with you on Instagram and in your world?
Literally anywhere. Emailing with Emilee, with little periods in between each word, because you can't put spaces on social media for some reason. So emailing.with.emilee on Instagram, TikTok. Those are primarily my main spaces. I also put all of my Instagram content on Facebook, so I guess you can also find me on Facebook as well.
Amazing. I will put all of that in the show notes, and I really appreciate you dropping all of this great knowledge. It gives people places to start, but also if they're in it, places to adjust and move forward. So thanks for doing this and joining me on your nap time with your little one in your lap.
She was supposed to be napping as well, but she decided
That's how it goes. Yep, I've been there. All right, that's it for today. If this episode gave you a little aha, or you're thinking about guesting on podcasts now, I'd love to hear about it. Screenshot the episode, tag me on Instagram @CandiceDudley, and let me know your biggest takeaways. And don't forget to come back next Tuesday for another episode.